Hi everyone, and welcome to ABA Me. I'm Hannah Brown, a passionate board-certified behavior analyst with over a decade of experience working with children and teens facing behavioral challenges. I began working with children primarily on the autism spectrum in 2014. Since then, I've dedicated myself to learning the complexities of human behavior using science to separate fact from fiction. I have my master's degree in applied behavior analysis and my undergraduate degree in psychology. As a behavioral scientist, my mission is to uncover what truly drives change and improvement. On this channel, I'm excited to share with you general evidence-based strategies that help parents better understand and support their child. My video will provide you with practical, research-backed insight so you can make informed decisions and create meaningful, lasting change. I'm here to help you unlock that potential with actionable, science-driven knowledge. Let's dive in and start making those positive changes together. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more valuable content. What age should I teach my child consequences? Understanding how children grasp the concept of consequences and punishment is crucial in guiding their emotional and cognitive development. Children's ability to comprehend the cause and effect relationships between their behavior and consequences evolves as they grow older. Each age group requires different strategies to effectively reinforce positive behavior and address negative ones. From infancy to adolescence, children develop an increasing understanding of how their actions impact the world around them. In this video, I will provide you with a comprehensive breakdown of how different age groups respond to punishment and reinforcement, providing age-appropriate strategies for guiding behavior in a constructive and supportive manner. If you haven't already, check out my video, Should I Punish My Kid?, which discusses and evaluates the effectiveness of punishment versus reward. As a parent, you are your child's first and most influential teacher. They look up to you not only for support and guidance, but also how to behave. Children absorb what they see and often mimic their parents' actions, whether positive or negative. In order to foster a healthy balance between discipline and personal growth, it is crucial to understand the differences between acceptable and unacceptable forms of punishment. The most important aspect to grasp is not just what punishment should look like, but also what it should not look like. Remember, effective discipline goes beyond simply correcting a child's behavior. It is about guiding them through their mistakes with patience and understanding, providing them with the tools they need to learn and grow and become a better individual in a supportive and nurturing environment. A comprehensive review by Elizabeth Gershoff titled More Harm Than Good, a summary of scientific research on the intended and unintended effects of corporal punishment on children, examines the detrimental effects of corporal punishment on children. The study highlighted that such practices are linked to increased aggression, antisocial behavior, mental health issues, and cognitive difficulties. Additionally, it notes that corporal punishment can damage the parent-child relationship and may lead to the child adopting violent behaviors. Furthermore, the World Health Organization reports that corporal punishment can trigger harmful psychological and sociological responses in children, including pain, sadness, fear, anger, shame, and guilt. These reactions can activate stress responses, potentially leading to long-term health issues. The scientific research consistently indicates that overly harsh punishment can have significant negative effects on children's development and well-being. Punishment should always aim to correct behavior in a way that is fair, constructive, and respectful of your child's dignity. Effective discipline involves guiding children through their mistakes and helping them learn in a supportive and nurturing way. Punishment should always aim to teach and guide behavior rather than simply being a form of retaliation or frustration. Here are 10 examples of what punishment should not look like. Number 1 is physical punishment. Any form of physical harm or threats of harm, such as spanking, slapping, hitting, should never be used. It can cause emotional and physical harm and teach children that violence is an acceptable response to punishment. Number 2 is verbal abuse. Yelling, name-calling, or harshly criticizing a child can damage their self-esteem and cause emotional harm. Negative language can create fear or resentment rather than encouraging understanding and improvement. Number 3 is inconsistent or unclear consequences. If consequences are unpredictable or don't clearly relate to the behavior, children may become confused about the connection between their actions and the outcome, such as punishing a child days after something happened. Number 4 is overly harsh or severe consequences. Punishments that are too extreme, like long periods of isolation or extreme restrictions for toys or privileges, can feel unfair and may lead to frustration or rebellion. Consequences should be appropriate to the severity of the misbehavior. Number 5, punishment that ignores the underlying causes. Sometimes children misbehave because of unmet or emotional developmental needs. Punishment that does not address the root cause of the behavior, like unmet needs for attention, security, or emotional regulation, is less likely to lead to lasting improvement. Number 6 is punishment that damages the relationship. Punishment should not damage the bond between you and your child. Punishments that are meant to make a child feel abandoned, rejected, or unloved can harm the trust and closeness in the relationship. For example, sending your child to their room without a follow-up in a conversation. Number 7, punishing in anger. It is important that punishment is not done in a moment of anger. Reacting impulsively or emotionally can lead to an out-of-control punishment that the child may not understand or that might escalate the situation. Number 8 is punishing the whole child. Statements like "you're bad" or "you're worthless" are not punishments that should ever be used. Punishment should focus on the specific behavior, not on labeling the child as inherently bad. This helps preserve their sense of self-worth. Number 9 is overusing punishment. Relying too heavily on punishment can make children feel that they are constantly in trouble, which may lead to anxiety, rebellion, or a sense of helplessness. Positive reinforcement and teaching better alternatives should be the primary focus. Number 9 is punishment without teaching. Punishments that don't provide the opportunity for the child to understand what they did wrong and how to do better next time can leave them confused. It is important that punishment is accompanied by explanations and an opportunity for the child to learn and grow from their experience. Now that we've explored what to avoid in punishment, let's shift our focus to understanding age-appropriate and thoughtful discipline strategies that prioritize your child's healthy growth and development. By choosing rational approaches that are in line with their developmental stages, we can foster an environment where learning from mistakes is encouraged and positive behaviors are reinforced, all while nurturing their emotional and cognitive well-being. Children begin to grasp the concept of punishment at different ages, depending on their cognitive and emotional development. Generally, the ability to understand the cause and effect relationship between behavior and consequences improves as they get older. Here's a general breakdown. Number 1 is infants and toddlers from birth to 2 years old. At this stage, children are unable to fully comprehend the concept of punishment in the way older children can. However, they respond to immediate consequences. For instance, negative consequences such as timeout or removing a toy might result in temporary distress or frustration, but toddlers don't yet understand the underlying reasons for those consequences. A better strategy is to redirect their behavior. This is more effective at this stage, as they are still learning about cause and effect. Examples of redirection. Number 1 is grabbing an object. If a toddler grabs something they shouldn't, such as a sharp object or a fragile item, instead of yelling at them, you could calmly say, "Let's play with this toy instead," and then offer them a safe, engaging alternative. Number 2 is throwing objects. If a toddler starts throwing their food or toys, instead of immediately removing them or yelling, you could gently say, "Food stays on the plate," and then show them how to place the food back and help them eat their food. You could also offer a soft toy for throwing, like a soft ball, so they can channel their energy in a safer direction. Hitting or biting. When a toddler hits or bites another child, you can calmly intervene by saying, "We don't hit," and then redirect their attention to a calming activity or toy, like a soft stuffed animal or a quiet book, helping them learn that gentle touch is the appropriate response. Number 4 is exploring dangerous areas. If a toddler tries to climb onto a piece of furniture or get into a dangerous area, redirect their attention to a safer play area. You can say, "The couch is for sitting, but we can play with blocks on the floor." Guide them to the new activity. Number 5 is crying or whining for something. If a toddler is crying because they want something, instead of giving it to them right away, you can encourage them to say the first word or syllable in order to promote communication. If they continue to cry, you can redirect their attention to their favorite toy or offer a fun and engaging activity like stacking blocks or playing with a ball to shift their focus. Of course, this doesn't apply for infants because crying is a form of communication at that stage. In these examples, redirection works by offering positive alternatives and maintaining a calm, reassuring attitude, helping the child understand and learn acceptable behaviors in a supportive way. The next age group is preschool, ages 3 to 5 years old. By the age of 3, children can begin to understand the basic connections between their behavior and consequences. However, their understanding is still somewhat limited, and they may not fully grasp the long-term implications of punishment. For preschool-age children, years 3 to 5, reinforcing positive behavior and addressing negative actions in ways that they can understand is crucial. This age group begins to grasp the connection between their behavior and consequences, but still needs clear, simple explanation, consistency, and age-appropriate reinforcement. Below are additional examples of reinforcement and consequences that are effective for this age group. Examples of positive reinforcement for preschoolers. Number 1 is sticker charts. An example would be a preschooler earns a sticker each time they use polite words, help clean up, or have kind hands. After collecting a certain number of stickers, they can pick a small reward, such as choosing a special activity or getting a treat. Why it works. Sticker charts provide a visual and tangible form of reinforcement, allowing the child to see their progress and motivating them to continue using positive behavior. Number 2 is praise for good behavior. When a child shares a toy with a friend, you might say, "That was so kind of you to share your toy. I'm really proud of how you're playing with your friend." Why it works. Verbal praise reinforces good behavior and boosts the child's self-esteem. It helps the child understand what behavior is expected and encourages them to repeat it. Number 3 is special responsibilities or roles. An example is if a child listens well during cleanup time, you could say, "You did a great job cleaning up your toys. Now you get to be the helper and hand out the napkins during snack time." Why it works. Giving a child a special responsibility makes them feel valued and encourages them to repeat the positive behavior in order to be given more opportunity to help. Number 4 is extra playtime. An example would be a child who follows directions and cleans up after playtime might earn extra playtime with their favorite toy or a few extra minutes to play outside. Why it works. Offering something enjoyable like playtime as a reward for positive behavior helps children associate good behavior with pleasant experiences, motivating them to continue behaving well. Number 5 is choice making. An example would be a child who consistently helps clean up their room or follows instructions might be given a choice of what to do next, such as choosing between reading a story or playing a game. Why it works. Offering choices helps the child feel empowered and gives them a sense of control, while also reinforcing the idea that their good behavior leads to rewarding choices. Examples of consequences for negative behavior with explanations for ages 3 to 5 years old. Number 1 would be timeouts. An example would be if a child hits another child during playtime, you can calmly state, "You're hitting your friend and that's not okay. You need to take a timeout for 1 minute." Why it works. Timeouts help children step away from the situation and have a moment to calm down. Clear explanations ensure the child understands why they're being given a timeout, helping them connect the behavior with the consequence. Number 2 is loss of privileges for a short time. An example would be if a child refuses to follow instructions like putting on their shoes when it's time to leave, They may lose the privilege for a fun activity, such as watching a favorite show or playing with a special toy for a short period of time. Why it works. Losing a privilege is a direct consequence that is tied to the child's behavior. When explained clearly, it helps the child understand the importance of following rules and respecting authority. Number 3 are natural consequences. An example would be if a child refuses to wear a jacket on a cold day, they may end up feeling uncomfortable or cold. Once they realize the discomfort, you can calmly explain, "You didn't want to wear your jacket and now you're feeling cold. Next time, remember your jacket and you'll stay warm." Why it works. Natural consequences help children learn from the situation itself. They don't feel punished, but instead experience the direct results of their choices, which helps them develop decision-making skills. Number 4 is redirecting to a calm activity. An example would be if a child is being overly noisy or disruptive during quiet time, you may say, "It's time for quiet play. Let's go to your calm down corner and play with your books or puzzles until you're ready to join the group again." Why it works. Redirecting the child to a quieter activity helps them calm down without making them feel punished. It also encourages the child to manage their emotions in a constructive way. Number 5 is loss of playtime or toys. An example would be if a child refuses to share a toy and insists on playing with it alone, you can say, "You need to share the toy with your friend. If you keep holding on to it, you'll have to put it away for a little while." Why it works. The child learns that the toy is a privilege that comes with sharing, and if they don't share, they can lose access to it temporarily. This reinforces the lesson that sharing is important and the consequences follow action. Key tips for implementing consequences and reinforcement with children 3 to 5 years old. Clear and simple explanations. Preschoolers need clear and age-appropriate language to understand the connection between their actions and consequences. Immediate feedback. Both positive praise and constructive feedback should happen immediately after the behavior so the child can make the connection between the action and the outcome. Consistency. Consistency in applying both reinforcement and consequences help preschoolers feel secure in knowing what is expected of them and what will happen if they follow or break the rules. And lastly, use positive language. Focus on what the child can do rather than what they can't. For example, use gentle hands instead of "don't hit." By reinforcing good behavior and addressing negative actions with clear, age-appropriate consequences, preschool-age children can begin to understand the basic concepts of cause and effect, helping them develop self-control, responsibility, and social skills. Next is ages 6 to 8 years old. At this age, children's cognitive abilities are more developed and they are better able to understand the concept of punishment in relation to their actions. They begin to grasp the idea of fairness and are more likely to understand that their behavior has consequences that are linked to social rules. They are able to understand the explanation, such as, "If you don't clean up your room, you won't be able to play with your friends." They can also comprehend the concept of delayed consequences, such as losing privilege for a period of time, but may still struggle with the abstract reasonings or long-term consequences. For children in early elementary school age range around 6 to 8 years old, their understanding of cause and effect is more developed, and they can comprehend the idea that behavior has both immediate and delayed consequences. At this stage, they also begin to have a sense of fairness and understanding social rules. Here are some additional examples of effective reinforcement and consequences for this age group. Examples of positive reinforcement for children 6 to 8 years old. Number 1 would be earning privileges. An example might be a child who consistently finishes their homework on time throughout the week might earn the privilege of choosing a weekend activity, such as a trip to the park or a movie night. Why it works. Offering a privilege as a reward helps the child understand the link between responsible behavior and gaining something enjoyable. This reinforces their motivation to complete tasks like homework on time. Number 2 is praise for effort. An example would be if a child works hard on a challenging math problem or spends extra time on an art project, you might say, "I'm really proud of how hard you're working on that problem. Even when it was tough, you didn't give up." Why it works. Praising for effort rather just for the outcome encourages a growth mindset and reinforces the value of persistence and hard work, motivating the child to keep trying even when faced with difficulties. Number 3 is recognition in front of peers. An example would be during a class or a family meeting, a child who has been cooperative and followed the rules might be recognized with a Student of the Week award or get a shout out for being a team player. Why it works. Public recognition among peers boosts the child's self-confidence. They feel proud of their positive behavior, and the recognition motivates them to continue acting in ways they are valued by others. Number 4 is a point or token system. An example would be a child can earn points or tokens for completing tasks like cleaning up, being respectful, or finishing assignments. After accumulating a certain number of points, they can exchange them for a reward, such as a special treat or extra screen time. Why it works. A point or token system provides a tangible way to track progress and motivates children to continue engaging in positive behavior. It also introduces the concept of earning rewards over time. Number 5 is offering choices. An example would be after completing chores or a school project, you might say, "Now that you're done with your homework, would you like to go outside to play or should we read a book together?" Why it works. Giving children choices fosters independence and gives them a sense of control, while also encouraging them to follow through on tasks in exchange for a reward option. Here are some examples of consequences for negative behavior in children 6 to 8 years old. Number 1 would be loss of privileges, such as screen time. An example would be if a child continuously interrupts during a family dinner, you might say, "If you keep talking out of turn, you won't be able to watch your favorite show tonight." Why it works. The loss of privileges like screen time or a favorite activity is an effective consequence because the child understands the connection between their behavior and the loss of something they enjoy. This helps them learn to control impulsive behaviors like interrupting. Number 2 would be timeout for misbehaving. An example would be if your child refuses to follow instructions or becomes aggressive during playtime, you could say you need to take a 5-minute break to calm down. You can join the group again once you're ready to be respectful. Why it works. A timeout gives a child a moment to cool off and reflect on their actions. At this age, children can understand that taking a break helps them manage their emotions and behavior before rejoining the activity. Number 3 would be delayed consequences, such as missing out on a reward. An example could be if a child fails to complete their chores or homework on time, you might say, "Since you didn't finish your homework, we won't be able to go to the park today, but you can try again tomorrow." Why it works. Early elementary children are able to understand delayed consequences and can link their actions with future outcomes. Delayed consequences helps them learn responsibility, time management, and the importance of following through on tasks. Number 4 is natural consequences. For example, if your child refuses to water their plant for a week, the plant might start to wilt. You can say, "You didn't water your plant and now it's starting to wilt. Next time, let's remember to water it so it can stay healthy and happy." Why it works. Natural consequences allow children to see the direct effects of their actions, helping them learn responsibility and care for the things around them. It provides a hands-on lesson without punishment, encouraging them to make a more thoughtful choice in the future. Number 5 is reparative consequences. An example would be if a child accidentally breaks a sibling's toy by not being careful, you can have them fix it, or at the very least offer an apology and talk about being more careful in the future. Why it works. Having children take responsibility for their actions, especially in a way that addresses the harm done, like fixing a broken toy, teaches empathy and accountability in helping them understand the impact of their behaviors on others and reinforcing the idea of making amends. Here are some key tips for reinforcement and consequences for ages 6 to 8 years old. Number 1 is clear explanations. Children at this age can better understand cause and effect, so it's important to explain the reasonings behind the consequences. For example, if you choose not to do your homework, you won't be able to go to the party. Number 2 is immediate and fair consequences. Make sure that the consequences are applied promptly and consistently. Children at this age understand fairness and will respond best when they feel that the consequences are reasonable and connected to their actions. Number 3, focus on problem solving, using misbehavior as an opportunity for teaching. If a child is punished for something, offer ways for them to improve. For example, next time, instead of yelling, use your words to express how you feel. By combining positive reinforcement with fair consequences, children in early elementary school will learn to make better decisions, control their impulses, and become more responsible for their actions. Next is older children, ages 9 years old and up. By this age, most children can understand the logic behind punishment and are capable of comprehending the long-term effects of their behavior. They have the ability to reason through consequences of their actions and can understand more complex, abstract forms of punishment, such as being grounded. They can also understand the connection between specific behaviors and specific outcomes, such as if I break the rules, I will lose my phone for the weekend. Children at this age may also begin to recognize the fairness or unfairness of punishment and may question or challenge it if they feel that it is not justified. For older children, ages 9 years old and up, the ability to understand abstract concepts and long-term consequences is well developed. They can grasp the logic behind punishment and may also start to recognize fairness or unfairness. This age group can benefit from more structured, specific, and thoughtful reinforcement and consequence strategies. Here are some examples of positive reinforcement for older children 9 years old and up. Number 1 is privilege based on responsibility. An example would be a child who consistently takes responsibility for their chores, homework, or other obligations might earn the privilege to choose a family activity or go on a special outing. Why it works. This reinforces the connection between responsibilities and rewarding outcomes. It helps children understand that their actions have a direct link to gaining desired privileges, while also encouraging them to take ownership of their tasks. Number 2 is praise for personal growth. An example could be if a child demonstrates personal growth, such as improving in their schoolwork or managing their emotions better, you might say something such as, "I've noticed how much you've been working on your math. That's awesome, keep up the great work." And/or, "You have been doing such a great job working through your frustrations and communicating what you need rather than yelling. That's amazing." Why it works. This reinforces the idea that effort and growth are important and appreciated. Rather than focusing solely on the outcome, like a perfect score, it helps develop a growth mindset, encouraging perseverance and resilience. Number 3 is rewarding positive social behavior. For example, if a child demonstrates kindness or positive social behavior, such as helping siblings or cooperating with a team during a project, they might be allowed to choose the next weekend activity or earn special screen time. Why it works. Reinforcing positive social interactions helps a child develop empathy and understanding the value of cooperation and kindness. These behaviors are linked to real-life rewards, such as social success and stronger relationships. Number 4 is autonomy over decisions. An example would be a child who manages their school responsibilities well throughout the week might be given the freedom to choose their own schedule for the weekend, such as deciding when to do certain tasks or having input on family decisions. Why it works. Offering autonomy fosters independence and decision-making skills. Older children value the ability to make decisions for themselves, which increases their sense of responsibility and self-discipline. Examples of consequences for negative behavior for older children 9 years old and up. Number 1 would be grounding for disrespectful behavior. An example would be if a child uses disrespectful language or argues aggressively with you or others, you might say, "Because of the way you spoke to me, you will be grounded for the weekend and won't be able to go to your friend's house." Why it works. Grounding is an effective consequence for older children because it impacts their social life or freedom in a way that they understand and value. The connection between misbehavior and the consequences of loss of privileges is clear and teaches them the importance of respect. Number 2 would be loss of electronic privileges, such as their phone or video games. An example would be if a child ignores the rules about screen time, such as spending excessive time on their phone during study hours, you can say, since you didn't stick to the rules about screen time, your phone will be taken away for the rest of the evening. Why it works. Electronic privileges like phone or video game access are highly motivating for this age group. The consequence is meaningful because it directly affects something they value, and the child can easily make the connection between breaking the rules and losing access to their devices. Number 3 is loss of social privileges, such as limiting playdates or social events. An example would be if a child fails to complete their homework or is consistently tardy with assignments, they might lose the opportunity to go to a party or a social event that was planned for the weekend. Why it works. Social activities are significant at this age, and losing access to them helps children understand the importance of meeting their responsibilities. It also encourages them to manage their time effectively and prioritize their commitments. Number 4 is delayed consequences for poor choices. An example would be if a child forgot to pack their lunch or neglected to complete a school assignment, you might say, since you didn't get your lunch ready this morning, you will have to deal with the consequences at school, but when you get home, we can talk about it. Why it works. Older children are able to understand delayed consequences, so this strategy reinforces personal responsibility and encourages them to think ahead and plan for the future. It also allows the child to experience the natural fallout of their actions. Here are some tips for implementing consequences and reinforcement with older children ages 9 years old and up. Clear communication. Be sure you explain why the consequence is happening and how it relates to the behavior. For example, you didn't follow the rules about screen time, so now you lost your phone privileges for the day. Next is consistency. Apply the same consequences consistently to ensure that your child understands the connection between the behavior and the outcome. Consistency helps reinforce expectations and respect for the rules. Sometimes it is important to write down these rules and expectations so that there is clear communication. Fairness and reasonable consequences. Make sure that the consequences are reasonable and proportionate to the behavior. This helps children see the punishment as fair, which is important at this age when they are developing a sense of justice. Allow for discussion. Older children may challenge or question punishments. It is important to listen to their perspective and calmly explain your reasoning. This helps them understand the logic behind the consequence and may prevent resentment. Last is encourage reflection. Give children the opportunity to reflect on their behavior and the consequences. Ask open-ended questions like, how do you think you could have handled the situation differently next time? This encourages problem solving and self-awareness. By providing thoughtful reinforcement and appropriate consequences, children at this age can develop greater self-regulation, accountability, and an understanding of how their actions affect others and themselves. Key points. Young children, such as ages 3 to 5 years old, may understand punishment in a basic emotional way, but not logically. Older children, 6 years old and up, can grasp the reasonings behind punishment and their long-term effects on their actions. Consequences and clear expectations of why a punishment occurs are essential at every age group to help children understand the connection between their behavior and their consequences. Here are some takeaways. Children start to understand the concept of punishment at around age 3, but their ability to comprehend its logic and consequences deepens significantly as they grow older. When teaching children right from wrong, reinforcement should be the primary strategy. This strengthens positive behavior and also helps in building functional adaptive skills. Punishment should be used in certain circumstances, especially for dangerous behaviors, and should be used sparingly and in combination with reinforcement techniques. A balanced approach tends to result in the better outcome for behavioral change. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe for more insightful content. Please share this video with someone you feel that would benefit from this information. If you have a specific topic you would like me to discuss, please leave a comment below.